Hey guys, in this video I'm going to share some of our tips and tricks with you on how we meal prep. Now, meal prepping doesn't have to be time consuming or expensive. It just takes a little bit of planning and forethought. Meal prepping is really important because it sets you up for success so that the foods that you want, the healthier foods that you want to eat, are available and ready for you when you're hungry. And when those foods are ready for you and available, you're less likely to cheat or say, hey, let's go grab food, or whatever that may be. So we like to cook all of our food in bulk. We do all of our meat in bulk, all of our vegetables in bulk, and that just helps us be prepared. Now I'll show you an example of how we like to prepare a veggie, and for that veggie I'm going to use broccoli. We get these big bags of broccoli from Costco. I think they're about $3.99 and they come pre-washed. So it's super simple. All I do is I preheat the oven at 350 degrees. Then I take my baking sheet and I'm going to line it with parchment paper. And the parchment paper is just there to, it's just less messy for the cleanup. I'll open up my bag. Put it on the pan. Yes, it is a lot of broccoli and it does overflow, but that's okay. I do like to go through and just make sure that there's no bad pieces. If there's any really big pieces like this one, I cut them up. So you can use the same method, just oven roasting, using a baking sheet to oven roast other vegetables. You could do Brussels sprouts, asparagus, carrots. There's a lot of options. It just really comes down to what it is that you like or don't like. If you don't like vegetables and have a hard time fitting them into your daily routine, just try one and see if you can find a way to prepare it a way that you like, that's palatable for you. And your palate will adjust. So, we weren't born liking broccoli. In fact, in both of our households, Rick and I grew up not eating any vegetables. The only vegetables I had were French fries and corn on the cob. And if you ever see Rick, ask him to tell you his story about how he first started eating vegetables. It was not an easy process for him, but here we are today eating broccoli. Okay, so I have it cut up just how I like it. Okay, so I got my oven timer set, ready to go. Now while that's cooking, I can do something else. If I need to do some dishes, some laundry, whatever, maybe I just want to sit down and watch some TV, let that cook, okay? But next up, I'm gonna show you guys how we like to prepare our meat. This is probably my favorite way because I can set this is a crock pot if you don't know what it is. I like to put my meat in there, set it, forget it, come back, and it's ready for me. So here I have the pork shoulder that I was talking to you about earlier, and we bought a big pork shoulder from Costco. I want to say it was about 20-30 bucks maybe, and then we quartered it and put it in gallon-sized Ziploc bags and put it into the freezer. So we bought that, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and we're still going through it. So I'll take this out of the bag. This isn't quite defrosted yet, so I'm just going to put it in like this to show you. And just put it on high and set it, come back, and I have some great carnitas. Now I like to season it with, again, salt, pepper, garlic, and some kind of heat. But there's different recipes that you can find on the internet to use. There's also pre-made mixes. There's also pre-made mixes just like this. I got this from Sprouts. There's no sugar in here. So that's an easy way to spice up your food. And that's it. So that's one way that we like to cook our food. Now if this is, we do the same method with other meats. We do chicken thighs, and we'll get the 6-pack from Costco. We divide that in half, so we'll cook 3 packs at a time in here. And that provides us with a lot of food, a lot of protein for about 3 to 4 days. And then we also like to we'll do ground beef. So I have some ground beef here defrosting. And we'll we'll cook that up in a pan on the stove, and we like to add taco seasoning. You can also add Italian seasoning if that's what you like. Really, when it comes down to protein, you know, there's only so many sources of protein, but the way to mix it up is with your flavors and just in your seasonings. So I'm sure you guys can get a lot more creative on the seasonings than us. Okay, so I finished preparing my protein. Like I showed you, I put that pork shoulder into the crock pot, and the ground beef, I just cooked it, and I threw in some Italian seasoning, so I have both of them prepared here. Now typically, for Rick and I, we usually just go through one protein source at a time. We don't get bored, and we don't mind eating the same thing meal after meal. So typically we would have just done the pork, and then we would have done the ground beef. But I wanted to show you guys how easy it was to have a couple of different protein sources prepared ahead of time and have it on hand. And that's in case you're prone to boredom with your food and you need to have more variety, or if you have a larger family and you need more protein on hand. So now I want to take you over to our fridge just to give you guys a look inside so you can see what it looks like. So come on over. So yeah, it looks pretty sparse, lots of Tupperware. So we'll have our protein here, and then we have our veggies. This is the broccoli that you guys saw me make. We got our berries, our eggs, some breakfast sausage. We have some cheese. And we just kind of pick and choose what we want for each meal, put it together. We also did this when we were doing Zone and RP. It's really easy then to just have those things prepared and pull it out and make your meals according to your macros. So that's it. I hope this helps you guys with your meal prepping.